Yippee-ki-yay, melon farmer.
Hey, welcome back, knife nerds and everyday care people. It's your boy, the Big Canucker, and we are having a look at something a little different today. We're having a look at a fixed blade that I found at a flea market. And actually, I found it at a gun show that I was working in a place called Milk River. There were some guys, they've got a bunch of fixed blade knives all over the place, and I picked up this little gem, and I gotta say, man, oh man, this is a smoking little knife here. Let's get this box out of the way. That's what it comes in. This happens to be the Lionsteel M2M. And I am more of a folder than a fixed blade guy, but I've got some fixed blades. And, you know, there's ones that I just like the looks of. There's ones that I think, man, I'd like to give this a little bit of a try for carry because, you know, that seems to be one of the things now is you do a fixed blade everyday carry. And I think this is a knife that is the perfect or one of the most perfect fixed blade carries that I know about. Now, the only thing I would say is this sheath is just a little bit big for the pocket, but it can work for sure. But this has got a dangler. This is an excellent little sheath. We'll go over that in a second here. But this one happens to be the Lionsteel M2M in natural canvas micarta. And I got to say, man, oh man, not only is it a knife that's got just deadly ergonomics, it's a good looking knife too. And that's the one thing I really like about a Lionsteel. I love stuff like these. They've got these rounded kind of curved edges. And I'm totally blown away with that. That's just something that I really like. All right, so let's go over the stats here a little bit after we have a look at some size comparisons. But before we do that, please don't forget to hit the old subscribe button out there. Hit the like, share button, leave a comment. I'd love to hear from you. Help me to spread my voice. We're getting so close to that 2,000 subscribers, so damn it, ring those phones. Ring those phones. Hit the subscribe button. Hit the subscribe button. All right, this happens to be my big daddy here. This happens to be an SE6. And no, this is certainly not an everyday carry blade. This is a big monster, but I'll give you a size. Now, with that sheath that the SE6 in, it's got a little Izula 2. This is more along the lines of kind of a everyday carry size here. I think that's kind of a discreet. But that just gives you an idea. What else we got here? By the way, thank you very much, Mr. Anderson. These are never, ever going to leave my possession. These were a gift to me early on in my my YouTube career, and I have to say it is one of my most cherished knives of all time. All right, so let's get those out of the way. Here we have a couple of more Knivs. We've got the Classic 3, which is a big monster, and then we've got something here called the Companion. These are a couple of carbon steel knives, and these are just inexpensive knives. And I ended up getting this big one here for wood carving, and I was real dumb. I don't know, I had a choice to get the little bit of a smaller one, which would have been way better for wood carving. This is just a big honking knife that I was a little bit dumb, but I don't want to get rid of this one here too. I mean, they're excellent knives in their own rights. And then just one more fantastic, huge fixed blade. This one here happens to be made by a company called Everett Edge. And I took that on trade here. And you can see that this Everett Edge chopper is a big monster. And we'll be doing a review of this here down the road here a little bit. But I just thought I'd show it to you, kind of a little bit of a fixed blade look at knives today. All right, let's go over the numbers on this one here real quick here. Overall length is 7.99 inches. I just don't get that. You know, it's 7 point. Why don't you just make it 8 inches? I mean, just add a 0.1 of an inch onto this thing and it's 8 inches. Just add it all. Save us all that headache of remembering. So it's 7.99 inches. Blade length is in the perfect 3.54 inches or 3.5 inches. That is, to me, the perfect EDC. And this is a bush knife. I think a very capable bush knife in its own right. But at 3.5 inches, it's the perfect EDC size. Now, the blade thickness here is 4.4 millimeters or 0.1/16 of an inch. Now, I always say that knives are not pry bars, but when you start to get into some of that fixed blade where you're in that survival situation, or you've got a fixed blade knife and it's, you know, a lot of guys who have, carry these fixed blade knives on their hips all the time, they use their knives for everything, including pry bars. And this one here, I think It's got a great big thick spine here, and it tapers down to the edge, but it's also got a lot of meat that way to give it a lot of strength. Now, I'm not going to sit there and I'm not going to pry a car door open with it, but if I had to kind of jam into something and give it a little bit of a wiggle or a twist, I'm not super worried that this is going to get broken, considering it's a full flat tang or a full tang all the way through to the end. Now, I don't know how much kind of weight saving is in behind there. I imagine there's a little bit of holes, but it's still, because this thing only weighs, what, 5.4 ounces or 154 grams. So it is, for having such a thick blade in there, I can't see there being a lot of weight saving holes in there being so heavy. Now, the other thing here is the steel on this is M390. And M390 seems to be one of the best steels out there now in pocket knives, as far as folding knives. Now, some people may have questioned its toughness. Some people, may question its kind of chippability, but it is very thick kind of behind the edge, so there's lots of support there. It being a fully flat ground, it is still a really decent slicer. I went through some cardboard with this, and I was really, I was S-cutting in cardboard, and in such a thick, wide blade, it does a really good job. So I don't think you have to worry as much as you think about this being kind of not as tough as, say, some of these carbon steel knives where they're insanely tough. This one here, I think you're gaining so much more on this knife as far as edge retention, edge stability, stainlessness, that you're not going to miss that toughness, in my opinion. I mean, I think you can baton with this. I didn't do any batoning with this, but I watched a couple of videos where I watched some guys, they were pounding through some pretty big stuff with this, and there was absolutely no worry that this was going to break or snap or chip, nothing. A couple guys went through some pretty hefty trees with this thing here, and I was really impressed. Now, one of the things here with the rounded spine, a lot of times people complain that you don't have the ability to do your fire steel. Well, Lionsteel, oh, I love that sound. Lionsteel thought of that. The pommel here that sticks out a little bit, I guess it's kind of a little bit of a bashing pommel, like you're in a survival situation and you got to kind of bash up your willow so you can put it in your tea to make your analgesic tea. And that is a true thing, by the way. But it also will throw some sparks. And you can see where I've tried it here, where my little, this is my magnesium bar, and it's also got a fire steel on the one side. And you know what? You can see that it scrapes really well. And so just to get that magnesium out of there, because you never know when that stuff's going to start on fire. Damn it. And yeah, so let's go over to some other things here, because half the value of a knife is having a good sheath. And this one here happens to have, I think, in my opinion, an absolutely excellent sheath. So the one nice thing about this is it is handmade in Italian leather, double stitched. It is very tough. It's, it's quiet. It doesn't rattle around. Now, it gives you a couple of options to carry this. You can carry it kind of dangly off the belt here. You can move this on this sideways, and you can kind of scout carry it sideways if you want. Now, the other nice thing too is these are completely removable. If you want to just try that EDC carry where you stick this in your front pocket, so you can just pop that off, stick it in your front pocket, open it up, and then pull it out anytime you're ready to use it. Now, the one thing though, I have to say that I am not an expert on fixed blade sheaths, but I got to say, guys, if you have a look inside there, you can see this little button here. I don't know what that's for. I have no idea what that is in there. I thought it was kind of a magnet, but I don't know. Yeah, see, my bits won't stick to it, so it's not really a magnet. I just don't know what that is. I guess perhaps the only thing I can think of is when they installed this thing here, they had to go through this side of the leather and put a kind of a buckle inside there. So I guess that's maybe so it doesn't scratch your blade, but I don't understand why they wouldn't use something that's a little more color matching, I guess. But it is a really excellent sheath too as well. Now the knife in itself, it's got some other great features. So this does come in 3 different ways. It comes in this way with this natural micarta. You've also got a G10 version, a black G10 version, and you've also got one that is a wood. And I'm not sure what the wood is, if it's a diamond wood or what it is. I mean, it looks nice, but the natural micarta looks way, way better, and so does the G10. So that's just my opinion. And just like another body part, everybody has them. Now, I did take this and kind of wet it down too, as a little bit just to see. And it's just like the great, there's micarta out there that is really, really tough. Like, I've got micarta here in this Tactile Turn Maverick, and it's a polished micarta, and when it gets wet, it doesn't get sticky like this stuff does. Now you throw a little bit of water on top of this, and your hand almost not sticks to it, but it just gives you way more grip. This is the type of material that is more grippy wet than it is dry. Although it does have some grooves to it. And I'm not sure if you can tell, but if you can maybe listen, you can hear that it's got like some machined grooves, lines, and spaces into it. That's just a really nice touch, just to give that little bit of extra grip. Now, I also like this, the fact that you've got a very small sharpening choil on this. And you can see that it is just a tiny bit, just a tiny, tiny bit recurve there, but the first sharpening will take that right out. And that way you're not going to get that kind of recurved blade over multiple sharpenings. Love that. Love that, love that. And it's not so big that it's in the way or in the problem, or if you catch something on it, not at all. Now, the one thing I always wondered, though, is I wondered why, even though this is really, really fat, I wonder why they haven't made, I haven't seen any knife so far that has had, say, their sharpening choil a little farther over the ricassa, and that the sharpening choil itself is sharpened. So if it does ever get something inside there, it will cut. I've just never ever seen that in anybody's knife. If you've seen that in a knife, put it in the description to let me know. I'd love to have a look at that. It's just something I thought, why don't they ever done that? But I think just an excellent, excellent knife. The one thing, though, I wish they had is I wish they had a little bit of that really, if you guys are familiar with, let's just see, Vox knees knives, there's lots of those out there, giant mouse knives. They've got this fine kind of jimping that usually comes out here for your finger. I wish they put that kind of jimping out here and some fine jimping right here. That's the two things I wish that they would have done. Just put, and that style of jimping is so nice. It doesn't tear up your hand, but it's enough that it grips, because because that is a little bit slippery there. And if you put the jimping, another set of jimping way out here on the tip of the blade with a rounded kind of skull, it just gives you that little bit more stability, right? So that way you're not kind of like the interim going down, you get the interim caught in the old spike strip. That's how it seems to be. I wish they would put some fine jimping here, some fine jimping here, and I think you'd have been just a way better off knife that way. Not that there's anything super terrible with it. I mean, fantastic knife overall. And yeah, I'm really, really happy that I picked this up, and I'm happy that I know this is out there. And I don't know if I'm going to keep this one or not. I don't fixed blade carry a lot, and I do every once in a while when I go camping, because I want to give this stuff a try out. This one here, we'll find out. I still think I'm going to put this up for sale, though. And I think, you know what, if anybody wants this knife out there, I'm going to say $200 Canadian, and that's $200 Canadian shipped to North America. Now, price-wise, these are here right now, brand new, 199 euro, which is, I do believe that's like $310 Canadian, plus taxes, plus shipping. You're well into 350, and I'm not sure what 199 euro is USD. Let's try to EURO to USD. What is that? That is $215 American. So put your dollars here, folks. If you want to pick this up, I'm going to sell it for $200, and that'll just give me, some money in my pocket to bring some other stuff to this channel. I do appreciate you guys hanging around to the end here. Hope you guys have a really, really great day. Please, please keep your stick on the ice, the shiny side up. This is the Big Canucker. Oh, the one thing I forgot to say is it also has a lanyard hole. Damn it. Good thing I said that, because man, I love lanyard holes. And lanyard holes are one of my favorite things on a knife, because when I grab a knife, I like having my pinky finger grab that lanyard hole and pull it out. A little different with the fixed blade, but I still think it's nice, especially with this green kind of micarta. You lose it. If you put a nice bright red lanyard hole and a big orange bead on it or something like that, going to be so much harder to lose when you drop it. You know, if you're skinning something, you got your hands all full of blood, and it's all full of blood, and you're looking for it. I had that happen to with a beautiful buck 110. Got lost when I was doing up a moose, and I was heartbroken that I couldn't find it. I stayed there an extra hour just to find that knife, and I did find it. But yeah, so it does have the lanyard hole. Sorry about that. Please stay safe out there. Keep your stick on the ice, the shiny side up. This is the Big Canucker saying adios.